Okay. To All You Serve webinar. Thank you, All You Serve, for sponsoring this. My name is Marcia Diamond, and I will be your facilitator today. And you are on the All You Serve webinar called Food as Medicine, the Power of Your Fork. Some logistics. Any questions you have, please feel free to write them in, and we will answer those questions if we have time at the end. In addition, the PowerPoint and the certificate of participation will be available next Wednesday on the allyouserve.com site. Again, logistics are the PowerPoint and the certificate of participation will be on the All You Serve website for you to download and have for your records for the 1 TU credit. Okay, so let's get started with food as medicine. I am very excited to talk a little bit about food as medicine because it seems like food is lifestyle, it's incorporated, food is just being that healing in so many ways. The Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Food Management magazines, even the Wall Street Journal, it seems like they're addressing food as a component of health, of wellness, of healing. So it is so wonderful to see that healthcare food service is embracing it and making it part of their process. So today, I'm very thrilled to have Jim Regrody, Director of Culinary Services, UNC Rex Healthcare. Jim is a New England native and a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Jim has over 30 years experience in the food service industry. He has spent the last 17 years working in the healthcare market. Jim has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Food Service Director magazine, Food Management magazine, and the Raleigh News and Observer. He has been recently featured in GQ magazine and USA Today for his influencing on healthcare food service. Condé Nast Traveler touted Jim and his team at Rex with one of the 9 great meals in unexpected places. Jim and his team were also highlighted on Japanese television for their efforts to improve the quality of food in hospitals. Jim has created the Black Hat Chefs, a widely known and respected culinary training program for healthcare cooks. His Black Hat Chef program has inspired so many hospitals to change the way they cook for their patients. He has worked as a consultant to the Department of Veteran Affairs and a success coach to Mater Health Systems in Brisbane, Australia. Jim was awarded the International Food Service Manufacturers Association Silver Plate for the healthcare segment in 2018. This prestigious award is given to top food service operators in one of 9 restaurant industry segments. He is just a treat as a person, as an expert, and I'm so thrilled to have him part of the webinar. Before we get started, I want to talk about, and Jim, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about what you're going to walk away with from this. Today, you're going to start.
Prior to healthcare, I spent 4 years with a contractor. So I've been 12 years self-operated, 4 years as a contractor in healthcare. Then 8 years prior to that, I was in colleges and business and industry. And then prior to that, I was in the restaurant world. So I've been doing this a long time, like I said. But when I got into healthcare, I remember I got recruited. I moved up to Washington, D.C. And the retail side, which was what I was hired for, I was hired to run the retail program. It was a large 900-bed hospital in Washington. We had a huge retail program. So I kind of spent all my energy out there, and I really didn't spend a lot of time on the patient side. But what I did see of the patient's food, I was actually appalled by what was going on. I think that what I saw, I was like, I hope this isn't what all healthcare food looks like, because it's all I knew about healthcare food service was what I was seeing for the very first time. And I was like, if I want to stay in this side of the business, I'm going to have to do something about that, because what I saw was not good. We had our food plated actually in Baltimore, and it was shipped to Washington, D.C. So we had no control over quality, It was all cooked very bland. And one of the things that stuck out to me, they had these little kits. It was like it was the only time I've ever seen them. I've never used them since, but it was called a diet kit, and it actually said bland on the packet. So I was thinking, I walked by, I was actually laughing. I'm like, you're actually telling the patient they're going to get something bland because it says it right there. So I knew I had to do something. So I spent a couple of years in the retail, but then I got into self-operated world. I really started to study and get into the patient dining piece. And that's where I really spent most of my energy. I really became one with the dietitians. I tried to beat them for a lot of years and I couldn't. So I just decided to work with them. Because you need to. The chef and the dietitian need to be there's a really important bond there. The chefs, we get a little crazy sometimes, and the dietitians kind of rein us in, because you do want to serve food that does no harm. You don't want to serve a lot of sodium to a patient that has issues with sodium. Of course, all the allergies that patients have. So there is a team effort, and we learned to do that. So I kind of fast forward a couple years into the self-operated or the self-operated world. I got into, I was really able to really drill down and really look at what we were doing. So I looked at a lot of different hospitals. I looked at what my experiences in Washington, D.C., my experiences in Virginia. I had moved after D.C., I moved to Virginia with another hospital. And basically, what I saw was the cooks and the chefs preparing food basically to go across all diets, meaning that, they had a low sodium turkey with a low sodium gravy with low sodium mashed potatoes that was going to someone that just had a baby. Well, what? And I would ask why? Why are you doing that? Like, why are you not creating two different menus or try to appease most of the demographics aren't on these restricted diets? Why are you sending everything out? And the answer was, well, we don't have the time to do two different things. It's too much money. And I just thought that was kind of nonsense. I looked at that like, well, that was just lazy to me. Like, so when I got the opportunity to look at this, we created a whole different style. As a chef, I hired a bunch of chefs over the years. So when we got to UNC Rex, it's been 10 years now. I've been here. We sat down and had huge conversations with our dietitians and our chefs about how can we make the food better, have a chef-driven menu, but collaborate with the RDs so it's a healthy meal. So one of the things I would always tell people, and this goes back to my restaurant days, if you want to see what's selling or what's good in your operation, go talk to the dishwashers. They're the ones that know. So we would have all these. If the patients don't like it, it's coming back. So a lot of the cooks and the managers and directors, they won't even go in the dish room. I would spend lots of time in there seeing what's coming back. So when I was in DC, I grabbed one of the dietitians. I said, here's your menu. Here's your healthy menu that's going to make everybody happy. And you check the box and here it is. And now watch it get thrown away because no one ate it because it's not good. So what you're thinking is healthy, they're not eating it. So when we created our menu, I wanted to do something different. So we introduced a whole new look to our heart healthy menu. We have a huge heart hospital here. It's a big part of what we do. So, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to create a new menu. So what you see here are actually on our patient menu. These are actual plates. We redesigned our Mediterranean tuna salad. We took the mayonnaise out. We made it a lot lighter. Our panna cotta. This was a big one that I struggled with for a long time was angel food cake. So everywhere I went, there was angel food cake on everybody's menu. And the reason why we all know it's on the menu is because it's got no fat and it works well in the healthcare world. But has anybody ever really eaten angel food cake? I mean, it's never good in its life. It's never good when it's first made. It's never good when it's cut. It's never good when it's frozen. It's never good when you take it out, put it on a plate, and then cover it with strawberry sauce. And it's just never good. So when we created our menu, I told my chefs, there's a couple things that are not happening here. We're not going to have fruit cocktail, and we're not going to have angel food cake. So I challenged my chefs. I said, I want a low-fat dessert that can go across the board with our healthy menus, but I want it to be what I used to call hip, wow, and now. So we had this Italian chef, well, thought he was from Italy. Pretty talented guy though, but he created the low-fat panna cotta. So we use a non-fat Greek yogurt, skim milk, gelatin, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of honey, and then we top it with just simmered blueberries with lemon zest, touch of sugar, and it's beautiful. It's perfect, and it fits everything. So this is the kind of direction we wanted to go. So as we started going, we kept bringing people in for lunch and learns. We wanted to talk to our dietitians. We wanted to talk to our patients. We wanted to see what really they wanted. We spent a lot of time on it. We used the contractor that was here prior. Everything was kind of frozen. They actually had canned vegetables, which I couldn't even believe. So we brought in all fresh produce. We redesigned everything. And they had very low patient satisfaction when we took over. They were at 39th percentile. We went to the 92nd in the first 6 months. And this didn't cost, and one of the things we always get is, oh, we can't afford that, it's too much money. But I've actually done this before, where I've taken a turkey breast, and I roasted it properly with the pan drippings, made a nice pan sauce, and did everything right, the way you're supposed to roast a turkey. And then I let the cooks do it their way. So what they would do is they would take the turkey, put it in, and the turkey's usually still frozen. They would put it in a pan. They would fill it up halfway with water, wrap it with foil, put it in the oven, and 4 hours later they had turkey. So I showed them the difference. I'm like, what you're doing, there's not even a cooking technique for that. Like, you're making that up. That doesn't even exist in the world of cooking. And look at you're basically steaming your turkey where I'm roasting it. Look at the difference. So the point I would say to them is, like, it cost exactly the same amount of money to do my turkey as it did your turkey. But what you did, you ruined it, and we did it right. So when you talk about food and the expense of food, it doesn't cost anything to cook it right. So that's a big message there. So anyway, so our patient dining really took off. Like Marcia said, we had a lot of people, magazines, people from Tokyo. They did a whole thing on us, and we couldn't understand what they were saying, but it was really kind of fun. But we got a lot of recognition for our patient menu. So I want to kind of move on to our retail. So we started with the patient side, but we knew we really wanted to do something cool in the retail. So again, the contractor they tried. They were doing some things. I think towards the end, they were really trying to make things better. But we still noticed they were using a lot of processed foods, and we wanted it to lean healthier. And I know in retail, there's the big argument about sales, and you don't want to pull things out because let people make choices. And I agree with all of that, but to a point. But we decided that we wanted to lean healthier. We wanted to. You're in a hospital. You're sending a message. We're a bariatric heart hospital. A lot of cancer, a lot of diabetes. So the message we were sending in our retail. They're telling them upstairs to eat better, but when they come down to us, we're telling them to eat worse. So we wanted to kind of have a different message. But again, we had to be cognizant of our sales. But one day I was walking by we were getting ready to do a renovation. I was walking by our retail grill, and I just saw all that fried food, and I was just like, that's enough. So met with all the leadership of the hospital, proposed what we were going to do. So we got rid of our fryers, and that was kind of a big deal. But I had reached out to some friends in the business that had done this, and I said, give me some advice. And they did. He told me to do like a Fryerless Friday kind of thing, and just kind of ease in the new menu. So we created a new menu. We created what's called Chibo Grill, which I'll talk about during that renovation. So we got to practice on a whole new recipes, menus, how we were going to look, the whole packaging, everything. And we stopped serving fried food on Fridays, and we introduced a new menu. So as we were going through this renovation, it took 6 months. The biggest complaint we were starting to receive was, why can't we have the menu on Friday every day? So what we did is we introduced healthier food in an attractive way for a value, and they started to forget all about the French fries. You know, I've traveled a lot to different hospitals around the country, and one of the things I see when there's not a good food program, you know, good looking food that's prepared well, the nurses will gravitate towards the grill because at least it's safe. They know what they're going to get. They're going to get a burger and fries. But if you offer them something different, we started to see the opposite happen, that people were kind of backing away. We had so many people come up to us saying that because of what we have done in that first couple of years was they lost a lot of weight, they're eating better. It was just a change of how we thought. So, and I put this Hostess Snacks thing on here because they had this huge rack when I got here. It was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet wide and 2 feet deep. And it had like every Hostess snack on earth in this thing. And we sold a ton of them. And we were their biggest, we were actually their biggest customer in North Carolina for that vendor. But, you know, Suzy Q's, all that stuff, I'm like, we got to get rid of it. So, you know, we were debating because we did bring in a lot of revenue for us. And we kind of didn't want it to go. But I'm like, you know what? I want to be a place that serves really cool restaurant style food. What are we doing with the Hostess rack here? You know, this looks like a gas station and it doesn't belong here. So we got rid of it, and the Hostess people were really mad at us, but you know, we told them to hit the road. So that was a good choice of what we did. So during this renovation, we talked about the Chibo grill. So in our grill, you can walk up and you can get a grilled salmon, you can get grilled tilapia with a pineapple salsa, you can get grilled plantains, you can get grilled zucchini, you can still get a cheesesteak, you can still get a burger, but our burger's never frozen. We have it specially blended for us. You know, if we're going to serve a burger, we want to do a good burger. So we had this different look, this different approach to food. Again, very chef-driven. The RDs didn't have a whole lot to say out here. We did create we created a platform that served just healthier options, and we did work with them to create that program. And it's been 7 years now, and it's strong as ever. So the phenomenon is that people were like, "You're crazy. You're going to lose sales. What are you doing? You need to serve French fries. You need to serve burgers. That's what people buy." We actually saw an increase in revenue. We saw it because we actually gained a new customer base. We lost a few for sure for a while, but they came back. But what we did see, I started seeing physicians and nurses and people I'd never saw before. And they would come down and be like, "We heard you guys are cooking healthier, good options down here." And all of a sudden we gained a bunch of customers. And when we did the renovation, we also looked at our salmon and the higher ticket items, and we priced accordingly. You know, so you're paying, it's still cheap compared to restaurants, but you know, we're getting $6.99, $7.99, $8 off our grill, where you know the burger was $3. So our check average was getting up, and our contribution margins were growing. So it worked for us. We also introduced a whole bunch of new grains. I have our executive chef Ryan Conklin, who many might know on this call. He really kind of pushed it in the early days, and he called quinoa the starter grain. It's like when you're introduced to whole grains, you start with quinoa. So we did that. We did a lot of tastings, and now it's just normal. You know, people didn't know what it was, and they're like, "What are these things? What's farro?" And but now it's pretty common here. We have it all the time, every day, actually. You know, like conducted a lot of tastings. One of the cool things too, if you look over at the bento box, this was something that we created for our patients and our retail. We used to be open 24 hours. Now we close at 1 o'clock, but we stopped serving hot food around 9 at night. So we wanted a healthy option for our patients that wasn't hot, so they could just, if they were in the ED and they got admitted, then we could give them something. So like a lot of hospitals use the barn boxes, and you got the token turkey sandwich with the token cookie or whatever. This is what we do. You know, we make our own tabbouleh. We have fresh fruit. We have hummus that we make, and we have like 6 different types. So again, even when you're in our emergency department, you're coming in, one of the first things you're introduced to is a healthier option. So it's something we're really proud of that. And then we sell them in retail too. So if a nurse just wants something quick, or a doctor, whatever, they can just grab one of these and go, and it seems to work well. So fast forward another couple of years. Again, we're still kind of pushing this whole healthy, leaning healthy wherever we go. And again, like I said earlier, I'm not a dietitian, so we're not looking at this from a clinical lens. We're looking at this from a culinary lens. How, if your people aren't eating the food, they're not receiving nutrition. So we wanted them to eat the food. So in 2017, our 8-story heart and vascular hospital was finished. When we were planning this, we had heard about a hospital up in Detroit, the Henry Ford system. Like 8 years ago, our executive team was going up there to look at because we were planning this building, and we had heard about their kitchen. They had a demonstration kitchen, so we kind of tagged along, and they had this really, really neat program that we really wanted to kind of. They actually took it another level. They were really, really chef driven. They had everything was just, it looked like you were in a restaurant. It was a really, really amazing place. So when we opened this building, we wanted to do a lot with what they were doing as far as being truly healthy. So we decided that we were going to create a fast casual Mediterranean restaurant. We weren't going to do the traditional hospital cafeteria. So we created Cardia, and Cardia is the Greek word for heart. We had a design team, we had a bunch of architects, and we created this beautiful restaurant. So again, we met with chefs, we met with our dietitians, we met with our wellness dietitians, which are our outpatient, and they do all our wellness centers. And we wanted this to be special. So we met, we decided we weren't going to use anything frozen. We were going to have everything fresh. We were going to really focus on local foods. Again, with the Mediterranean, lean to it. And then the sodas came up. Okay, so what are we going to do about sodas? Now, there's many on this phone call that's probably been approached over the years about sugary beverages and getting rid of them in healthcare. We got rid of our fryers, but I didn't go down that rabbit hole because there's a lot of problems with that. We do sell a lot of healthier options, of course, but we decided in our other cafes we would keep all our soda, but we were going to do something different in Cardia, which I want to show you in a little bit how we kind of handled that. But we decided no sodas. And it kind of, at first, we had some complaints. People, we had a gift store on the second floor that was crushing it because they were selling soda and we weren't. But we held our ground. We said, no, this is what we stand for. It's not about we want to be profitable. We want to, profit's not a dirty word, but we want to send a message of this is who we are. This is what we're doing. We want to be true to the food and true to our mission. And everybody agreed that would be the right thing to do. Let the gift store get their money. We're fine. So we created these handcrafted infused beverages, which is on the next slide I'll go into. Fresh squeezed juices, rotisserie items. We have a big, beautiful rotisserie centerpiece oven. And then again, no fried foods. So we do sell falafel, but we grill it. So that's the only thing that really is a little bit weird, but it works. The way our recipe was developed, it works. We hired a local chef that was in the Raleigh area that was well known for his creativity and healthy foods. We looked at the way we were going to present. We were going to do small, healthy portions. We were going to do right pricing. And I tell you, we have a huge cult following. There's people that literally eat here every day. We have people that come from the outside to come eat here. So it's something we're real proud of. And again, that chef and dietitian working together really is what made this successful. So, let me go back. All right. This thing's very sensitive, Marsha. Okay. Sorry about that. So, handcrafted. So, when we were creating Cardia, we had heard about a restaurant, fast casual chain up in the Washington area, back up in DC, called Cava. And we knew we had to go see it because it was just something we wanted to do. Did a lot of planning on this. And for those on the call, my biggest advice to have a better food program is go visit as many places as you can, because that's what we do. We go all over the place and just check out food. So we had heard about Cava. We wanted to go see what they're doing. So one of the things I thought was really interesting, at first I didn't like it, but then by the time we were done eating, I really liked it. They had these bubblers, okay? And you think about Crystal Light and these things. That's not what they were doing. They were doing like really cool chai teas, jalapeno, cilantro, kind of lime, fresh squeezed lime juice, drinks. And they had like 9 of them, and it looked kind of cool. So you go up and you buy one, get a cup, and you get whatever flavor you want. So as I was I'm like, we need to do something like that. This is really kind of neat. So we did it, and everybody they were kind of making fun of us because we had bubblers, because we had spent years trying to get rid of that kind of stuff, and but it worked for us. It was a really good substitution for the beverages. So here's a couple different recipes that we have. So we use, there is some sugar obviously in the apple juice and all that, but we're trying to keep it fresh. So we have a manager, her name is Branda. We hired her. She's our restaurant manager, and she was a mixologist in her world, in the fine dining world. So she was a sommelier as well as a mixologist. She knew a lot about cocktails. So obviously we don't serve alcohol, but using that strength that she has, she created all these incredible juices, beverages, and teas, and lemonades, and limeades, and all freshly made. And it is absolutely a cult following right now. They're not sugar-free. They definitely have calories in them, but they're not, high fructose sugar, and they're more of a natural. Really successful. We're thinking about adding more. We just don't have a lot of room, but you can kind of see where they're displayed on there. And we do a cold brew. We have a fresh squeezed orange juice machine. Just an alternative. We have people that will walk from the other side of the facility, the campus, to come get one of these juices. And you can see she has a cilantro basil lemonade. She has tropical fruit, and then she has the Cardia Colada, which is kind of like a low-fat pina colada. And everybody buys one. Everybody says the same thing. It's kind of annoying, like, oh, this needs rum. So we hear it, like, the poor cashiers hear it all day long. I feel sorry for them. So anyway, that's our beverages. And I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. I get real fast. Here's some of our plates that we sell. So we looked at breakfast and we said, what are we going to do with breakfast that's going to be healthy? We decided against bacon, pork bacon, and pork sausage. We do a chicken bacon that we have made, and it's delicious. It's really good. But we wanted to do something different. So we do a lot of avocado toast, which people can prepare, or, they can get. But we wanted to even go deeper. So we do these Cardia yogurt plates, which is just absolutely beautiful. We start with an unsweetened Greek yogurt. We use fresh fruits. This one has toasted walnuts, chia seeds, pepitas, shaved dark chocolate, and then we drizzle it with local honey. And I think we sell these for like $5.99 or something. And we sell a ton of them. It's very healthy. It really brought in, again, another customer base. But the avocado toasts are very popular too. And here's one of our grain bowl samplers. So basically you go through, you can pick a base, pick your toppings, pick your sauces. Here we have a Moroccan carrot salad, olive tapenade, buttermilk squash. So again, what we're trying to do is introduce healthier foods into our menu. And we're actually a couple months away from having our patients able to order off of this that are in the Heart and Vascular Tower. So that's something that we're really looking forward to. Because a lot of people that are in the Heart and Vascular Tower are there because they don't eat like this. We have this constant conflict where you'll see their family members come in while they're having their, the heart stent put in or whatever, and they got a bucket of chicken and fried chicken. It's like, well, that's why you're here, So we're trying to get people to get the message to eat a little better. And like I said, we have a really nice rotisserie oven. We do we make our own shawarma in there, leg of lamb, we roast salmon, everything's in, as much as we can put in there, we do. We'll put some potatoes on the bottom as the chickens are roasting, and they get these beautiful, fresh rosemary. Not super healthy. There is a lot of chicken, but it's delicious, and usually a lot of that goes back to the kitchen staff. But So in this picture, I have hatch chilies. For anybody that knows what hatch chilies are, they're in season right now. And they're from New Mexico. They can only come out this time of year. And we got a bunch in. And I just happened to be doing these when I was building this PowerPoint. And I took a picture of the hatch chilies. So again, we're really chef driven. We're really trying to serve as much healthy food, prepared with love, food that's not processed. And you can do it. It's definitely possible. So going back to Detroit, they had that kitchen. So when we were building Cardia, I was sitting in a meeting one day, and I had all the executive team was there, and we were talking about what we were going to do in the space. I was like, you remember that kitchen up in Detroit? I said, we need to do what they're doing, because that was really, really cool. And they were all there. They saw it. They saw the vision, and so we started planning it. So we have a 150-seat teaching kitchen, which is right attached to Cardia. So a lot of our chefs will go down and teach down there. We do about probably 3 classes a week right now on various nutrition topics. We always have a dietitian with us, so it's never just the chefs going rogue. It's always the dietitian's there to keep the chefs in line, because we don't want to teach people. The kitchen's not there to, teach people how to make a hollandaise sauce. That's not what it's there for. It's there to how to do something instead of a hollandaise sauce. So you're removing all that fat and cholesterol and all the stuff that's in a hollandaise. So we got our kitchen, and you can see in the bottom, there's Chef James. He's our chef for the Cardia restaurant. He's doing a little demo there. But we do a lot of diabetes education, bariatric, weight loss. We have a lot of free classes for the patients, and hands-on class with chefs and dietitians. We do make money off it. It's a revenue source. We're not making a ton of money off it, but we're covering our costs. We're not going to make $1 million out of it, but it's a very good public relations. It's a very good tool for our patients when they're discharged to be able to come down and have a class and learn how to eat the foods. And I always use this example, so you can tell people they need to eat more artichokes, but they don't know what to do with an artichoke. Like they walk right by it because they're intimidated. So we're going to show them how to cook eggplant. A lot of people don't know what to do with eggplant, so we're teaching them how to do it so they can eat better. So hopefully they don't come back as a patient. And the very nice thing about this is that when we were building it, we had a lot of funding that came out, because the hospital looked at it like, we need to have this paid for because it's expensive. It was an expensive space. So we had, our foundation people, which is doing what they do. They reach out to, all the companies and, donors in the area. And, we had almost probably $300,000 donated to this kitchen to help build it. And, it wasn't that hard to do. It is a named kitchen now. The people that donated the most of it got the name of the thing. But there's a lot of money out there, and you work with your foundations, and if you're trying to do things, if you're trying to introduce healthier things and you don't think you have the money for it, talk to the foundation at your hospital and see, Blue Cross Blue Shield, huge. They have money for this kind of stuff. They're looking at, if the hospital, especially for employees, if the hospital is going to have a healthier workforce, it costs them so much less money, not only in healthcare costs, but productivity, time off, people missing work, people overtime, all of it. So if you can have a healthier workforce, it benefits them. So reach out, go, get the Blue Cross Blue Shields, the big, healthcare providers in your area, and see what kind of money they got. We found it. It's there. So we're real proud of it. That on the top right, there's Chef Ryan doing his thing. So what's next? I think this is my last slide. But so one of our goals with that kitchen, we have a really high-end audiovisual package with it as well. We actually have a control room right behind it that has there's actually a guy hired because the room does more. There's also a place where doctors can watch surgeries from around the world. So the kitchen closes up and it becomes this conference space. So it's not just ours, but we do have to share it. So anyway, what we want to do is we want to have a video library that patients, while they're in their bed, can go to like the UNC Rex web or food page and actually watch videos of how healthy food is prepared. We also want them to be able to look at their menu. And so if I want the grilled salmon, I can actually click on our video of how we cook and prepare your grilled salmon for you. We'll also have recipes and techniques that they can watch. So we actually hired a video production company, and we're working with them to get these videos out. We don't have any out right now, but we will also have things where you can put on the Facebook page, where you can see those little fast cooking videos that, I don't know what they're called, but we're going to have those on our Facebook page, and people can watch, how we cook at Rex. So it's something we're really, really, really looking forward to. We're also looking to more interaction with dietitians as far as, from an outpatient perspective. We really want to get the word out. We don't want it to end. We don't want our healthy teaching and influence to end when you're discharged and you go back, and then you go back to eating food that got you here in the first place. So we're trying to get that outpatient piece going, where we have places all over our county where people can go and get more information and talk to dietitians, so they don't come back to the hospital. So weekly farmers market. Farmers markets in a hospital is nothing new, but we did start one, and it's been very, very popular. We're actually working with the farmers to showcase local produce that they come, they bring when they bring in. And I think the future is food pantries, which we're working on. Hopefully that will work. We have some friends up in Boston and Hennepin County Medical Center that have really done an incredible job with it. And we are going to work with them to kind of get ours started, hopefully. But I think you're going to see more of these. So what Boston Medical does in Hennepin County is, when you're discharged, you actually get a prescription on your medical record where you can go pick up food for people that are food insecure. And I just think that's an amazing thing, working with the food banks and a lot of malnutrition problems. And if you can get the food out to the people, I just think it's a win-win for everybody. So I look forward to those coming in the future. I think you're going to see more and more of them. You're also going to see some dedicated farms for hospitals. I know of a couple that have been real successful. It's definitely, I would love to have one. I just don't have the space to do it, but we do have a garden, but we don't have a farm. And then rooftop beehives, I think, are a big thing. Going to see a lot of that in the future. And with that, I think that's all I have. So anyway, my message to everybody is just, you can serve healthy food. You can do it and make money. You can lean healthy. You can look at getting rid of your fryers. You can send the message that, food is medicine. And if you're not serving food that fits in that, that paradigm, then you're not helping, I guess is what the message is. So thank you all, and hope we'll take some questions if you have any, and I will hand it back to Marcia.
I have some questions, and before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about funding. Several things. Funding was spoken about, and he mentioned about the American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, the Walnut Association, your nut associations, American Dairy, insurance companies, board of directors within your hospitals, equipment partners, farmers associations, ag schools, 4-H. All of them have funding for wellness and health. And if you approach them, whether it's for something like Jim has as far as the innovation, or it's something to get started on how food is healing, maybe even workshops, there's funding to be available and how to get started. So consider that, again, everything from ag schools to 4-H to farming associations to board of directors within your hospitals. Think about those ways to get started, to approach. Again, it's an initiative, because what it does is it brands your facility. It brings healing and food and as medicine. It also brings, he mentions about putting it on the website, those pods, those quick reads of how to do things. It lowers readmissions. And all of that engagement helps healing. Amazing, amazing things you can do by just making a statement for a focus of where you want to go. And like Jim said, some great points is you're going to maintain most of your audience or your client base as far as retail, and you will lose some, but overarching, you'll probably gain much more momentum, and you have to take that step to, in the long run, of where you want your healthcare or hospital food service brand to be. So I think those are things to consider. He mentioned about cost, and so obviously when people see beautiful food that looks good, they eat better, and obviously they drink for hydration as far as that goes. But it's not more costly, it's just being more creative or imaginative, which is what Jim and his team has done at Rex. So I think you've gotten an overall kind of arching ways of how you can approach it and not be afraid to make a stand on that. So with that statement, I've got some questions, and let me get the questions. Someone mentioned, we are looking at pulling the fryer out of our retail area. Is there another piece of equipment that you would recommend to add that would replace that for a hot food area? Jim?
Yeah, we got.
Okay.
Well, we got turbo chefs out there, but one of the things we did is we decided we weren't going to just take French fries, and then put them in a turbo chef. That a lot of people do that, and that's fine. But when French fries are produced, they're fried. You're just frying them again. So we decided they're not good like that. There's some that I've seen that are pretty good when you fry them, but we decided we weren't going to do this. So we created a whole wedge program. We originally were cutting our wedges, but we found one that wasn't fried. It was an oven baked wedge. So we created this whole program. It's called JoJo's Wedges, and it was all these cool seasonings that we put on them and dipping sauces. And I've seen people fry or bake onion rings, and they're terrible. So we just decided not to do that. But the turbo chefs are good. And we have two of them out there. We bake biscuits in the morning, and in the afternoon, during lunch and dinner, we do our wedges in there. So look into some turbo chefs. There's a couple other pieces of equipment out there for sure.
Besides that, would you recommend any woks or any stir fried or anything like that, or anything, or like any kind of induction cookery for that area, for the retail area?
Well, woks would be great. Woks are awesome if you have a place for them. But if your woks aren't hot enough, they don't. I've seen induction woks. I don't know, they work, but they don't work great. But we do have induction as well. We have induction saute, burners that we do saute work out front as well. So yeah, all that. If you could get a wok out front, more power to you. That would be awesome.
Okay. The other question is, how do you get started? How do you, I know that you've mentioned all these initiatives, but how do you take one? How do you get started? What would you, if you had to give somebody advice, what would be the top 3 things you would say to do?
As far as changing your retail program, is that the question?
Well, changing retail or patient. How do you get started to have a healing program? Food is medicine. How do you make changes?
I think the first place you got to start, you bring in the people that are going to support you. Luckily where I'm at, I have a lot of support from the executive team and the medical team. When I went in front of the executive team and I proposed, removing fryers, and they were all for the patient menu. That needed to get done because that was one of the biggest complaints. But, retail, when you pull fryers out, your administration is going to hear it. So you gotta start there. So we started. I did a presentation, told them about what we wanted, what was our vision, and how we needed to get there. We had it all laid out. And I said, none of this, and I told them, there's like 15 of them in the room. I said, none of this will happen if I don't have your support. And they all agreed that was the direction they wanted to take. They wanted to showcase their hospital as being the first, and we were the first hospital in North Carolina to remove our fried food. And they did it was a huge, all the news teams came in. We had every news channel here. It went on for months. It was great public relations for the hospital. And again, when we did the Fryerless Friday, it made the impact less painful for the employees. And there was a lot of communication that goes out. If you just one day don't have fried food, you're going to have a huge problem. There's a lot of communication that has to take place. And luckily, we had time during our renovation to really message it. We actually had T-shirts made. The employees they had the Fryerless Fridays, and they had a picture of a fryer with a line through it, and our goal was, we never did it, but we were going to do it. We were going to take our last fryer and put it into our herb garden and paint it and fill it with dirt and grow herbs out of it. We never got around to doing it, but that was our plan. But yeah, communication and just, meeting with your executive team and show them your vision. I doubt highly, people on the executive teams are generally looking, for things like this. So, but have a plan. That's the big thing.
All right. Well, thank you. I don't think there's any other questions. I think that's it for now. If you have any others, please forward them to me, and I'll forward them to Jim. But again, food is just, in fact, more important, in my thoughts, that as a healing component than even some pharmaceutical, Motrin. It's part of that surgical procedure. It's really part of that full continuum. And so it's so great to see healthcare, food service departments embracing it and doing it right. Just a great thing. A lot of kudos from you, Jim, that are coming across now and what you're doing, and embracing it. And if you want to connect with Jim, I'd be happy to send you that information as well. But I would say make food part of a medicine as any other hospital procedure, because really you're going to make the difference in those, between your staff, your residents, your patients, and your whole team. So thank you, Jim, for sharing.
Okay.
Again, the PowerPoint and the certificate of participation will be available next Wednesday on the All You Serve website for you to download. And thank you for elevating meal service in healthcare. It can be done. You've shown that, you and your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Take care.